A YouTube GPS Google Maps mashup, virtual lands, and more this time on Hak5. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by GoToAssist Express, DimDim Easy Free Web Conferencing, and Halo 3 ODST for Xbox 360. Prepare to drop.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Matt Lestock.
And we are here, not in the studio. We decided to get out because it's way too nice to stay inside. So we're here at the Green Leaf in Williamsburg, Virginia, in Newtown.
One of the only bars that is open after 8 p.m. in the entire greater Williamsburg area.
This place was happening 300 years ago.
Yeah.
And not much since, really. It's a shame.
I don't know. You'd figure the founders of the New World would be, living it up at a bar.
Yeah.
Apparently
Partying
not.
hard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we do have the perks that we can, go to the grocery store and there's Thomas Jefferson walking around on his cell phone.
And there's a bunch
true.
of bitchy tourists.
Which are leaving. I'm excited about that.
I heard Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
It might be it's a slow drop off. I'm going to go be a tourist this weekend.
That's right. You're going on a very...
Exciting adventure. I know. It's got to be the lamest adventure ever. I'm only going 500 miles in 3 days. I swear the map I set out, like camping one night, DC with Harrison, Saturday night, right? There's no way. I'm going to be adding so many detours. Yeah.
Well,
So I'm going to go caving.
You'll have a good
You're going
time, and then
caving?
I get to be at the house all by
You're going
myself.
spelunking?
I am going spelunking.
He's going spelunking. I've always wanted to use that in a sentence. Now it got to. He's going spelunking.
Well, it's because it's on his TV host bingo. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have cards, and damn. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go to Luray Caverns, maybe. I don't know, whatever. So, enough about that. That's what's going on. We've got awesome content this episode. Got a lot of feedback in the last one, but let's not stay winded in the A block and kick it off right. We've got a awesome interview with our boy Atlas Rider, who's another motorcyclist, to tell us about how he mashed up GPS and Google Maps and YouTube. And
Yeah, I wasn't here for that interview. I really need to see what this is. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty tight. Let's go take a look. Today we have the pleasure of being joined by a motorcyclist, world traveler, and video blogger, Atlas Rider. Bill, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Darren.
I wanted to get your perspective on this and dive into what exactly is moto vlogging and what kind of inspired you to pop a camera in your helmet.
The first person that I saw do this was a guy called MordF13, and it was kind of a take on video logging where, usually people would make vlogs and just sit in front of the camera, and the narrative, may be interesting, but the background was very boring. So, kind of the birth of vlogging or moto vlogging was trying to, provide, an interesting narrative, but also have a background or a foreground rather that was interesting, like just the roads that you're riding on, and from there, this kind of subculture has really been growing over the past couple of years. It's been pretty interesting.
So tell me about the subculture a little bit. I'm kind of new to this. I've seen More to 13 and 88 Hawaii and you, but how did that really grow? Because I know that you've been doing this for quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 2 years now, and I think it started maybe about only 3 years ago. It's I don't know, it's a fairly tightly knit community that chats with, keeps ties with each other, and there's some meetups that happen where there's multiple riders that are going out on a road and recording a particular ride, and so you've got like kind of 4 or 5 different perspectives on the same ride, which is kind of neat. So I'd say there's at least 100 out there that are vlogging on a regular basis, and then there's a lot of people out there who make a video here and there, and we'll post it up. The motorcycle vlogging really, I think, started on livevideo.com. and then it eventually moved to YouTube.
Okay, I gotta ask, because I read the YouTube comments for a lot of these videos, and something that you see over and over again with lots of different moto vloggers is, that question, what's your setup, what's your camera, what's your gear? And so I've got to ask you, what do you
Sure.
find essential, and particularly as a sport tourer yourself, what do you find essential when you're going on a cross-country trip, thousands of miles? What do you bring with you, and what stays at home?
Well, there's plenty of little gadgets that I have. The main thing is that I take video with is the Sony TSC T5. Sorry, the Sony DSC T500 camera that takes HD video in 1280 by 720 resolution, which is really works well with the new HD videos for YouTube. So this is indispensable. SD cards, extra batteries, a way to charge all of my gadgets from my bike, because I'm oftentimes in the middle of nowhere and I can't really plug in. I do camping, and then for my navigation, it would be my Garmin GPS Map 60CXX, which is an integral part in the mashup between maps and videos. But the way most people wonder, like, how the camera is actually mounted, and it's very simple actually, and it seems very dangerous to most, but I'll kind of demonstrate here really quick.
Sure.
So I've got my helmet here, and literally all I do is just rest the camera on the chin bar and have it sit right here. And because my head's tilted down, my vision isn't impeded at all, and it looks really weird, but sometimes simplicity is the best. I've tried working with bullet cams. It takes 10 minutes to set up. It's a mess. I like just popping a camera in, hitting record, and going. So besides that, other gear that I take on a cross-country trip is I do a lot of camping, so anything that a backpacker would take for like a week-long trek into the mountains is very similar to what motorcyclists would use, because it has to be very compact, low weights, and you only have so much room on the bike. So that's about what I prepare. That's what I use to prepare for my trips.
Now, what I find really fascinating about your videos in particular, that I don't think I've seen anywhere else in motovlogging, is the way that you synchronize your YouTube videos with the road that you've traveled and a real-time update on Google Maps of your location, I'm assuming by GPS. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how that gets put together.
Sure. I kind of coined the term Atlas videos, because you've got this map on one side and you've got a video, and it provides kind of a real-time perspective of where that person is at, while they're riding. And there's three main components that made this work. Once YouTube created an API to manipulate the player, that allowed me. That API was absolutely necessary. Second piece is keeping a data log, a GPS log of all your coordinates. When I'm out riding, my Garmin here will record about every 5 seconds. And it's kind of overkill, but there's plenty of space. And then just some JavaScript that ties the first two things together. And basically, as the video is playing, it's looking at this GPS data log and finding out, okay, what GPS coordinates in this file correspond to his position, to the position. And I overlay that with a KML file that has the path that I'm going to in the video, and you can actually kind of jump ahead on the road, and which will in turn jump ahead in the video, and that's basically how it works.
Can you show us here, like, what's the actual code? What's that you're saying JavaScript, is that the engine? Can you show us what actually puts those two pieces together?
Sure, yeah. It's not the most glamorous code right now, but right now on the screen, I'll show you basically all the inner workings of it, and I can make this public for your readers if you want to monkey around with it yourself. So there's this one variable that has all the GPS data in it. It's just a huge array, and that's really crucial for the plotting of my progress along the map. Besides that, and there's lots of Google provides a lot of examples on how to use their API for Google Maps, and I'm sure you could find ways out there to do that. But I'm mapping on I'm adding the path that I'm taking at this point right here, which is pretty simple. You just give it a URL and what KML file and that you want to use, and that KML file has been generated based on the GPS data that I had been logging on my Garmin here. So once that's done, what you have to do is basically set up a listener that basically fires off. It's a timer actually that fires off every I think 5 seconds or so, and it checks, okay, at what point are you in the video, and let's sync that up to what point you should be from the GPS data. I hope that makes sense. And there's probably the most complicated part of it is just making that calculation from time in the video to mapping that up to the time that it's set up at in the GPS data.
So
is in this array that I meant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying timing it with the array?
So in this array up here, there's longitude here, latitude, and then 0, which is the start of which is time. And then there's 5, so that's 5 seconds.
So that just increments for every latitude, longitude that you have there. So do you have to write the code? Do you have to rewrite this for every video that you publish that would be an Atlas video?
Sorry, you asked if I had to write the code for all this for each video?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I made a little utility that makes this a little easier for when I'm doing video after video, and so it kind of sets up everything for me. All I have to do is find the point, the segment of my GPS logs, and sync that up with the video, because I'm taking GPS logs for hours at one time, and I'm only taking video for maybe 5 minutes. So finding that point and syncing that up so it's right is basically the most annoying part of doing this.
Have you published any of these programs?
No, I haven't published it. I've thought about kind of polishing this up so that other people can use it, but I haven't done that yet. But it's it's all client-side JavaScript, so theoretically, if you just go to my website and take a peek, then if you're savvy enough, you can figure it out. But I have thought about kind of making a plugin that people can use to do this on their own.
That's really
like a WordPress plugin. So
yeah, and that is just a really just a nifty add-on to the whole experience of watching a moto vlog and with the map. I got to ask, you've done what, hundreds of videos now? What's the biggest challenge in moto vlogging?
Well, number one challenge is just staying on the road and making sure that you're not focusing on what you're saying and what you're talking about too much, and you realize that you should be, first priority is riding the bike. But aside from that, it's all really just kind of finding out, well, trying to keep a narrative and staying on topic at some points, because sometimes you'll be riding by something along the side of the road and you think, hey, that's neat, and you start talking about that and you forget what you were talking about in the first place. So it makes videos a little disjointed sometimes, but sometimes that's the good thing, because it's the spontaneity of being out there and just talking about whatever. It doesn't always have to be scripted, but sometimes it's better if you want to talk about something in particular. So staying on point and just keeping your batteries charged would probably be my biggest challenges.
So what's coming up for Atlas Rider?
Next thing I want to do is head up to Alaska, all the way up to the Arctic Circle and Prudhoe Bay, and that is going to be a lengthy trip, probably like 4 to 5 week trip, and I'm going to try and do that next summer. See if that happens. But I'm really looking forward to it. Doing a lot of research on it. I just bought a used KLR, which is more off-road bike, since I'll be hitting a lot rockier terrain up there, and I'd like to do more off-roading. But Alaska's been a long sought-after goal for me for a while, and hopefully I can make it happen next summer and share the journey through video, photos, and writing on my blog.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us some of the background of what makes a moto vlog. So where can our audience find more of your stuff?
You can go to atlasrider.com, and that's where I publish all my videos, stories, photos of my journeys, and from there you can find where my Twitter account is. I'm on Facebook as well. I often tweet while I'm on the road because it's very simple, as long as I have cell phone coverage. But atlasrider.com is the main source if you want to find out more.
Thanks so much, Bill. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll find out what's going on with this month's LAN party. Halo 3 ODST for Xbox 360 is an entirely new addition to the Halo universe, which allows you to experience Halo from a whole new perspective. As an ODST on a recon mission, your job is to discover the truth about what happened at New Mombasa. For 30 years, the Covenant has besieged our civilization, annihilated our cities, and glassed our planets. It ends now. It ends with you. Volunteer for service and fight side by side with the fiercest warriors the human race has ever known, the ODST. Jump into hell, feet first. Prepare to drop. Halo 3 ODST delivers the ultimate Halo multiplayer experience with an entirely new co-op multiplayer mode, Firefight. It also includes a separate standalone multiplayer disc including 3 new Halo 3 multiplayer maps for a total of 24 original maps. Halo 3 ODST is available now. See xbox.com/halo for details.
Yeah, so,
What?
thanks for pretty much killing my Kindle segment.
Just be glad I
Did you
didn't
hear about
brick your
that?
Kindle.
God, I'm so...
You
Thank
go
you.
from
I
from
appreciate
not
it.
being cracked out to breaking shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
but look
he
at
was-
those.
He decided to go ahead and solder the wires onto my Kindle,
Yeah.
onto the flat cable with the 20 pins on it, and then he decided to unplug the flat cable, and somehow or another, the 3 wires connecting it to the TTL,
Yeah.
they snapped apart because the 20 pins, they're so light that they just snapped. So now
You're
we
talking
kind of
about
have-
a 0.5 millimeter pin
That's why you're agile with it.
that
you
I
have
soldered.
To be
No,
careful.
but the only leads I had were 2 millimeter. Oh, you know what? I actually had connection wire that was 0.5 millimeter. I had blue and red.
This is why you don't trust Darren to operate.
They were really
See,
good
here
solder
I am
points.
getting ready to do the show, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and solder it if you want.
I think I found your answer though. I
Yeah.
think I found the connector that will plug ribbon to ribbon, or will plug into
header
the
thingy?
Kindle and then into the header, and then you can solder the points on the header.
Sweet.
So I think I found it,
All right.
and there's no risk of Darren foobarring another.
We should have bought
segment.
more than one flat cable.
I'm just stoked though because it sounds like from the what is it? There's a like a Flash update file that guy's got that
Yeah.
basically allows you to overwrite the etc password shadow file.
Yeah.
So that you essentially reset root password. It's like a con boot for Linux. Well,
Exactly. That's
And-
pretty much what you're doing.
yeah. So once we're in, and I mean it's just an ARM-based Linux, and it's got a modem. Like I don't know how it uses, if you use like PPP or what to get on the WhisperNet.
Right.
But I would love to poke around with that, and that's the thingy, right?
That you broke.
That I brought. Well, but the Kindle still works.
Yeah. At least he's not cracked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Like, people like monotone, boring Darren.
It's not that you were monotone boring, it's that you weren't
People can understand.
bouncing off the freaking walls and being like pew 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 like a pinball in the studio. Okay.
See, when you say it,
because you,
I can imagine.
You just like, you kind of like, ooh, ceiling, ooh, shiny object, birdie, kitty, computer. That's you.
Yeah.
Like, your brain can't process everything that's going on at the same time, so you just rush through it, and then that way you can get on to paying attention to other things.
All right. Well, we're gonna give it a try and see how it goes, because some people like the long form. That's the thing though. Is you ask the YouTube audience, and they seem to like Cracked Out Darren. They seem to like get it in 10 minutes or less, 7
Well, that's
minutes or
because
5
the
minutes or
YouTube
less.
audience has a 30-second attention
I'm
span.
sorry. What, lolcats?
I rest my case.
All right. Well, I do have some fun VPN stuff coming up. I've been getting tons of feedback. I don't need to get any more emails about DDWRT. I do know.
And
that
the
there's
SSL Explorer has been discontinued because it was bought by Barracuda Networks.
Yeah, so I read in the thingy. But,
September of 2008, and I tried it once, and it's a pain in the ass
Really?
to get working.
Really?
Correctly.
Oh my god, dude! I read the description. I was so I was getting wet. I mean, dude, it looks.
A lot of the stuff that you would want to do, like routing and stuff like that, nixed.
Such is why Barracuda bought it.
Right.
Yeah. That's sad when that kind of happens to open source projects. I've seen that happen before with like screen reporting.
Well,
that happened to. I'm sorry. That happened to a Cam Studio. Did you know that? There was Cam Studio. There's a Cam Studio project on SourceForge.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much deprecated. I mean, the thing is like ancient. It does a fine job for what it did at the time, but it doesn't have all the features of the commercial Cam Studio. And that's another example of when those. And that was a great thing for recording screen captures when you need
Are you
to
thinking
like.
of the difference between Camtasia and Cam Studio?
That might be what I'm thinking. Still,
No,
SourceForge.
not still.
I was trying to segue
It has
into.
one has nothing to do with the other.
Anyway, what's
Well, I was
the
trying to
point
talk
being?
about the
I do
other
think-
email, like the DDWRT, and then the other thing about the
yeah.
VGA.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the VGA switch.
Right, the whole
scaler.
that was the whole Cam Studio thing right
Yeah,
there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, you tried with the segue.
I
sorry.
did. I'm not as good as Tom Merritt.
Buy a scaler. VGA scaler. We've got one that accepts HDMI, VGA, component, SV. It's like what?
It's everything analog in and everything analog in and HDMI out,
Including HDMI in.
Well, we should probably preface this with what the hell we're talking about. We've been getting a lot of emails recently, all of a sudden, for some reason, about this question: how do you record your screen captures when you're doing the show? And everybody seems to be thinking that we're using software, and that yes, we did do that in the very first season when we were poor, and not to say that we're rich or anything, but it's the reason we don't use the software is because it's infeasible when you're trying to do something CPU intensive. It is just so resource hog to be recording your screen and trying to do something else.
And then you got to transfer it over and make sure that it gets into the timeline.
And then you got to
this
synchronize
and
it. And all,
that.
it's a pain. So like I think there's a big misconception about the show is that it's actually, except for nights like these when we get out of the studio because it's cramped and it's way too nice and we want beer, is that.
Where's my beer?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Anyway, but the point being, the whole show is recorded live to tape. You mentioned something and then bam. But the whole thing is recorded live to tape. And and the way that it works is that all the cameras over HDMI go to a video switcher, and the VGA goes to the video switcher as well.
Yes.
And that's what the scaler is for, to take the VGA and convert it to HDMI.
And it's how much?
It's $400. So I'm not saying
There you
it's
go.
cheap, but
All right.
yeah. Anyway, so
All right.
you've got a cool thing about VLANs coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm going to intro to VLANs, how I implemented them. And I know a lot of you are going to, watch the segment, and I'm going to get flame bait like no tomorrow. You're doing it wrong. You need to fix that.
I think I got that in my first VPN segment about my my chicken scratch network with duct tape.
Whatever. So if you like it, great. If you have questions,
STFU. I mean, AML Matt.
if you have questions, shut the.
Let's take a look.
Hey guys, today I am back in the studio to talk to you about VLANs. Now, what exactly is a VLAN? Well, VLAN stands for Virtual Local Area Network. And the purpose of a VLAN is to kind of limit, there's a couple purposes. Limit broadcasts. First, if you have, 1,000 users on, your 32nd level of your office complex, you're going to have a lot of broadcast traffic, things pointing out and saying, hey, what's going on over here, and things like that. The purpose of a VLAN is for segmentation. Segmentation of saying, hey, here's the sales department, hey, here's the accounting department. You two really don't ever need to talk to each other, so I'm going to segment you guys out, and then you've got your servers down here, and you can go as crazy or as simplistic as you want. Deploying a VLAN is pretty simple so long as you know some basic rules. VLANs that are going to, have to have security, or if your switch isn't a layer 3 switch, or, let's face it, this is not an easy subject to just kind of, talk about here on the show. You really need to do your homework if you're going to be deploying a VLAN. But for the sake of infrastructure planning and infrastructure deployment, I'm going to talk to you about how I used a VLAN. So I had a need for VLANs to make sure that I could secure different parts of IP subnets. There's a couple people that we host that don't need to talk to others, and therefore it was important that we were able to accurately secure them out from everybody else. So I showed you guys my Dell PowerConnect 6248 switches that I had briefly. A switch is a switch, pretty much. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to log into the switch to take a look at my currently configured VLAN and give you an iOS-esque demonstration of how you're going to set up a VLAN in this switch. So what we're going to do here is we're going to open up PuTTY, and I've got my Dell switch pre-configured, and we're going to open it. And the user is going to be admin, and the password is my password. I think I typed that right. No, let's try that again. There we go. So we're here in the console, and what we need to do first is figure out what we can do. Well, we can enter into privilege mode first. That's the key. Gotta enable privilege mode. So let's figure out what we can do now. Art, boot, clear, configure, copy, blah, 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 blah. What I want to see is I want to see my currently configured VLANs. So we're going to show VLAN. And this is my VLAN table. So you can see here I've got VLAN 1, which is usually your default or your management VLAN, is set up on most of my ports. 2 is a security, another VLAN for a secondary office that we have that shares some office space with us. Different company, no need to see anything that goes on. They're only there and connected to share some internet. Shh. Number 3 is some internet IPs that I've got. 100 is a test VLAN that I was using. Here are the 2 key points, 101 and 1000. Now 101 starts our internal variation of VLANs and networks and different IPs and stuff like that. I did it so that I can run multiple Active Directory machines off the same switches, separate networks kind of thing. And then there's 1000. 1000 starts our client-hosted customers, where we host IT solutions for them. So 1000 is our first customer, and to set up security rules and policies and things like that, I needed to make sure that I had a VLAN in working order so that I could, accept traffic from my ESX server, take it through the switch, and then pass it out to my Juniper device, which is an SSG 140. So here we have the table, but now how do we actually go about adding a VLAN? I'm going to give you a hint, and take this with a lot of heart. Don't use your web GUIs to configure switches, switches especially because they're very finicky, and a lot of times the web interface isn't going to give you all the access or options that you're going to need. I had to set up a trunk port, which allows untagged traffic, which is VLAN 1 management traffic, to flow through, but it also allows VLAN 101 and VLAN 1000 to take traffic from my ESX server on a specific port, which I believe is port 7. So it's 2/G7 here in the VLAN table. But it needs to take that traffic and pass it along the uplink port, which goes into our Juniper. Now, on the Juniper, instead of adding another interface or things like that, what we decided to do was add a sub interface. And this is kind of getting into routing and things like that. We're going to take you over here, and we can actually add on top of my Ethernet 0/8 is a gigabit uplink. It's 10.10.1.1/22. So I got 10.10.1 to 10.10.10, I believe. I don't remember. Sorry. What we're going to do is, you can see here that we've got Ethernet 0/8.1. Now that is defined as a sub interface. Now here, the VLAN ID is 1000, and we've given this address, or this VLAN, a different IP and subnet, and we've also assigned it to a security policy zone. Here you can see that there's layer 3 switching routing going on, and that the status is up because it's piggybacking on Ethernet 0/8. And then as well, 8.2 is 101, and that's our middleware as a service application. So here we can go in and we can edit this. So HRHD, you got your IP address, your netmask, your management IP, and the VLAN tag. So we've defined the VLAN tag in the router, and now we need to go to the switch and enable traffic on the switch. So what we're going to do is, first we need to enter the config mode of the switch. So we're going to type in config. Now we're in the config mode, and we've got even more options that we can access. SNMP, service, router, blah, 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 blah. First we need to go over and enter the mode of the Ethernet port that we need to configure for trunk mode or general access, because by default your ports are passing untagged traffic, and they will untag traffic unless you explicitly define, or it won't even know where to go. So we're going to enter in the interface, Ethernet, and we're going to say port, I have a stacked configuration, so I've got module unit 1 and unit 2, so we're going to say 2/G8, and we're in now the config of interface unit 2 port 8, and then we're going to say this port needs to be on switch port mode general. Okay, and what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to configure basically per VLAN permissions that we want to allow this port to accept or pass traffic through. Otherwise, it gets kind of stuck and it says, hey, I don't know what to do with this VLAN, so go away. So we're going to come back in here, and we're going to say switch port general all, or allowed, VLAN, add, and we're going to add that dummy VLAN that I had, DXS. We're going to set that up on this port, so that port 8 on our second switch is allowed to pass VLAN traffic. Add 100, and we're going to say tagged, because the ESX server and the Juniper are looking for that tag, that 100 tag on the packets, and saying, okay, this is 100 and you just go this way, and you're allowed to go this way, but this or that. It all depends on how your routing and configuration is actually set up, and that's not something that we really want to get into, but for the sake of this, that's how I set it up. So we're going to say 100 is allowed to be tagged and allowed to be passed through this port to wherever it needs to go. So we're going to hit enter, and warning, large number of VLANs, yeah, we know. Switch port general allowed VLAN add. Now this is, depending on your switch, important, it's not important. You always want to allow management traffic through, well, normally you want to allow management traffic through the ports. That's just the way that I did my switch. People, network gurus, Paul, I guarantee you, I'm going to have some network people email me and be like, you are effing wrong. You need to quit the show, and you need to go crawl under a rock, and because you bring, nothing to the table. And I'm going to cry. It's bad. Sorry. So we're going to come back here, and we're going to add it as untagged, because our management traffic, our standard Ethernet, pass-through is not tagged with a VLAN. So we're going to hit enter, and we're pretty much done. We're going to say end, And now we're going to just verify that we actually have the port configured correctly. Show VLAN. So now here, if you see, we've got port 100, DXS 2/8, and now unit 2, port 8, should accept VLAN traffic. Now, the key is you have to set up where's it going to go. Well, if it's the only port on there, it can't really go anywhere, can it? Now, because this is an in-production, switch, and I really don't want to jack too much with it, you need to set the flow point. And in this case, my switch has port 48 as the gigabit uplink to my Juniper device, and that's where the Juniper comes in. Coming back, I don't have a security zone or anything like that, but I can come over here. I can go to policies. I can set up different policies and things like that. And you could set your policies. You could set your policy elements and things like that. And this is the reason that I needed VLANs. Now I could go through and I can VLAN out untagged, and I can segment and things like that. But that is a waste of space on my Juniper and on the switch and things like that. And most of the times you don't need that. If you have a device that you're going to utilize layer 3 routing capabilities for, why not use it? The Dell switch does layer 3 routing, but it doesn't do security like granular security. Well, actually it does, but not to the level that I want to do it to, because I need to VPN in and have customers do this and that. So I'm utilizing the functions of my Juniper. Now you could, let's say 90% of you could get away with the routing, IP routing functions of the Dell switch or your Cisco or brand of choice, insert name here. It's just a matter of what you actually need out of the switch, whether it be IP routing, whether it be VLANs, whether it be power over Ethernet. These are all things that you have to, kind of get a hold on before you actually make these purchases and start playing around. Remember, don't use the web GUI. More times than not, it's going to break your stuff. Sorry.
Tech support, this is Matt.
Matt, they got my unicorns are gone!
Slow down.
My wallpaper is gone!
You don't know how to change your wallpaper back.
They were there and then I clicked it and something's broken!
I understand that you're very attached to your unicorns.
And fairies!
And fairies. It doesn't matter. Okay, are you at your computer now?
Uh-huh.
I need you to go to the website that I just pasted to you.
But you said the link could be a virus!
Yes, it's okay. It's not a virus. Trust me. Okay? No. Just click it. Click it.
Okay.
Okay. Follow the instructions. Click I accept. Yes?
Yes.
Okay? No, it's not a ghost, Billy. No, there aren't poltergeists in your computer. It's me. I'm changing your wallpaper right now. Billy, your wallpaper's fixed.
Wow!
Is there anything else that I can help you with?
But you used to be 2 ponies and one of them had sparkles!
Have fun, Billy. Bye-bye.
GoToAssist is the quickest and easiest solution for viewing and controlling someone else's computer. Assist up to 8 people at once, whether they're on a Mac or PC. Try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days and support the show by visiting gotoassist.com/Hak5. Remember, gotoassist.com/HAK5.
If you're like me, constantly forgetting that some commands need to be run as root, then this tip is for you. Rather than writing out sudo and the entire command again, try sudo bang bang. It simply runs the last command issued as root. Share your faves at hak5.org/tips.
DimDim is powerful web conferencing with no hassles. Super easy to use, built on open source, and 100% browser-based, no software required. It's so simple, just start a meeting in seconds and tweet, IM, or email your meeting room URL. Your friends or clients click that link, and in seconds, they're in the same web conference room with you, sharing your computer screen, documents, whiteboards, even seeing and hearing you via your webcam. Amazingly, you can host, attend, even record your events with no download required, just a browser. Best of all, DimDim is free. That's right, free. So why pay for web conferencing when DimDim is free? So support the show and sign up for DimDim in just 15 seconds at dimdim.com/Hak5.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Well, that just about wraps up this episode of Hak5 with some lettuce, a little tomato, some basil, throwing some bacon. I'm like stoked, man. Like, let's wrap because like I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, while you eat, I want to let you guys know, feedback at hak5.org. Also, Darren has finally gotten off his ass and created a Hak5 Labs forum. Forgot to create hak5.org/labs, so Matt had to do that while he was at work today.
I blame FileZilla.
Bull.
.htaccess, it broken.
Yeah.
Works fine for me.
I went to my computer and it said, "Are you sure you want to overwrite?" And that was sitting there for like a day or two.
Ah, well, oops. There you go. So it works now, and also forums.hak5.org. Want to let you guys know that we're actually going to be implementing a new version of the forums real quick here, and we're looking to outsource, and I shouldn't say outsource, but crowdsource the integration and revamping of the new forum software into the current design.
Perfect topic for Hak5 Labs as well.
Exactly.
So if you guys haven't checked it out, hak5.org/labs, as you say, great place where you can get involved with the show.
And I also wanted to let you guys know about another show on Revision 3 called Totally Rad Show. It's about movies, TV shows, comic books, pretty much all the different genres that everybody loves. Oh, did I mention video games?
Woo!
Yeah.
Video
I
games!
love video games! And they recently added a brand new graphics package for their intros, so I'm pretty excited to see that. It's a different intro every single week, so that's going to be pretty cool. It airs every Tuesday on revision3.com.
Sweet. They give it a makeover. You know, when I first read the email about the cross promo and they said we gave TRS a makeover, I thought they like gave Alex a new hairstyle, and I was like, no, don't mess with Alex. But I'm gonna digress, and we should probably get out of here because we have food to eat, drink beer, and you know, yeah. So let's turn up the ice and light the fire.
Kick the tires and light the fire.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You could be mine.
Trust you, Technolust.
You are effing wrong. You need to quit the show, and you need to go crawl under a rock, and because you bring, you know, nothing to the table. And I'm gonna cry.
Hak5, the only show that's upside down and sideways. Just
Look,
quick.
camera boy.
Well, that just about wraps up this episode of Hak5. But, of course,
Trust your
as-
Technolust!
peace. It doesn't matter if it's there. I'll fix it in post.
Wow, you are really bright.
It's a little too Darren.
Yeah, I know you're the star of the show.